Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Tom and welcome back to a brand new video, and finally we have the Mick Schumacher career mode returning to the channel. And it's been a long time, but I've been so busy with things recently. I've had a lot of exams recently, and also I've been very busy with work. I've been working basically on every single day that I've had off from school, and also even on the same day I had to work and also go to school, so I've had literally no time to make any sort of videos whatsoever. So finally I've got a little bit of free time, a little bit of spare time, and I've been trying to get ahead on videos, and this is the first of many. I should have said yesterday's video, Strat to Glory, which if you did miss it, that was the first of many. But today we are back with the Mick Schumacher career mode after a 2-week hiatus, and right now we're in Friday practice, and Mick currently is getting settled with the Catalunya track, which is a track that I actually quite enjoy, and it's a shame that they modified the final chicane a couple of years ago, but overall, a pretty decent track with some nice flow. And so far, Mick is getting down to the nitty gritty in practice, putting the miles in and putting the laps in, trying to do the R&D program, and so far doing a pretty good job of it until he reached the qualifying test, which unfortunately in the qualifying pace test, it's impossible. It was actually impossible to do it. I did it in various attempts, and Mick just could not get the car in the green lap time zone. As you can see, going through the final chicane here, he's 2 tenths down, and then just through the final corner alone loses another 3 tenths, and that was the story of the qualifying test. And overall just impossible to match, because Catalunya is such a hard track and very much a reality check for the AI when it comes to your actual pace. However, moving on to qualifying on the Saturday, and hopefully, fingers crossed, Mick can find a little bit more pace in the car compared to practice, because like I said, this seems to be a very interesting track. The AI seem to be fairly OP around here, and the lap time targets are also very ambitious, and it's not just in the manner, it's in every single car in career mode. And so far we're in Q1. As you can see, Mick Schumacher getting a pretty poor first up in on the medium tyre and trying to get up to speed here, and he did actually go for another run on the same tyre, going for a second lap here, and he did improve by 6 tenths of a second, getting him ahead of Felipe Nasr, but still only P15, and that is pretty much the drop zone once everyone set all their lap times. And eventually Mick had to switch onto the soft tyre. As you can see, using the slipstream from Carlos Sainz, he improves once again by another 6 tenths, but only good enough at P18. And eventually, on his last lap of the session, because he's running out of fuel, he had one more lap at it, following Carlos Sainz the entire way round, and improved by 3 tenths, and that was just enough to get him P15, and I think that's going to get him through into Q2 just about. As you can see there, only Esteban Gutierrez separating Mick Schumacher from the drop zone in Q1, but crucially Mick does get through, however 2.3 seconds off the pace, and a major step backwards for Manor this race and Mick in terms of the overall pace that they were showing in the first 4 races of the season. But nevertheless, moving on to Q2 now, and this is Mick Schumacher's one and only lap. As you can see, approaching the first corner, braking at the 100-meter board, going to try and get it down the 3rd gear, swing it through turn 2, and then open up as wide as you can for turn 3. Try and catch the apex if possible. Mick ever so slightly misses it, and then tries to run it out nice and wide to try and carry as much speed as possible as you slow it down for turn 4. And Mick Schumacher so far only 2 and a bit tenths down, so not too bad, as he gets all out of shape on the exit of 4, which isn't going to help his lap time. Now going into turn 5, locking up the left front, completely missing the apex, which is a bit of an issue. So a fairly scruffy second sector so far as we go into turn 6 and 7, the left and right hand chicane, getting all out of shape in the back end, and just the back end refusing to stick around here as we go through turn 8, trying to carry as much speed as possible, opening up the DRS as we approach the second sector split. And Mick Schumacher is now 1 and a bit seconds down on Daniel Ricciardo, so a lot of time lost there in the middle sector as we go through the hairpin, the slowest corner on the track. Now trying to power through this little kink, now well into the final sector through this very long right hander. Going to try and be nice and patient on the power as we now throw it into the final modified chicane section here, now going through the little flip-flop that it's called, and locking up the left front again, all out of shape. Not really the nicest of lines through there, and overall bit of a scruffy lap besides the first sector. And Mick Schumacher is going to come across the line, and worst lap going to put him is actually P12, so not too bad there. However, later on in the session, as people improve their lap time, Mick would eventually drop to P14, 2.1 seconds off of the pace. So overall, a fairly disappointing qualifying session. However, something that was expected. You know, we knew that Spain was going to be a tricky track for the Manor, and it's a bit of a reality check, this track. So we're now going to move into the race, and hopefully Mick can get a better position. Race day at the Catalunya circuit here in Spain, and one of the tracks that I really want to hope Mick gets a good result at, because, you know, it's a track that overall has created a lot of legends in F1 and has a little bit of history, and obviously, you know, as recent as this year in real life when Hamilton and Rosberg came together. So this track does have a little bit of history behind it, and hopefully Mick can try and create a bit of history of his own around this beautiful track here. A lovely sunny day in Catalunya, but we're now going to focus on the task in hand for the race, and hopefully Mick Schumacher can get himself a couple of points on the board. That'd be absolutely fantastic if he can somehow get into the top 10. But here we go then. He's going to start from P14 on the grid as the 5 red lights come on now for the Spanish Grand Prix, and it's lights out and away we go. And Mick Schumacher starting on the hard tyre, getting a fantastic start, getting past Carlos Sainz, and also just about getting alongside Sebastian Vettel, who's just starting to get the edge on him now because he doesn't have the power in that Ferrari car. But now breaking into the first corner, Mick actually gets a tap from behind from the Haas of Esteban Gutierrez, who actually overtakes various cars to get past him. And so far Mick Schumacher in P12 having a pretty decent start, getting 2 positions off the start, and Sebastian Vettel crucially is behind him as we go now through turn 3 into turn 4. Mick's going to try and have a sniff up the inside of the 2 Mexicans, but there's no room through there for him to get past, and he's going to have to settle for P12 for a little while here. Still Perez and Gutierrez are going side by side into turn 5 here, so great action so far in the first lap, but Sebastian Vettel looking dangerous as ever in the mirrors here. Now going into this little chicane section, can Mick try and do anything? No, he can't, and he's got to settle for P2 for the time being as we settle into this first part of the race here. However, moving on to midway through lap 2, and now Mick Schumacher is right on the back of Esteban Gutierrez, and DRS unfortunately is not enabled yet, but Mick's going to get a great run on Gutierrez. Can he make a move? Not quite. Trying to think about possibly making a move there, but he thought better of it and decided not to go for the audacious dive bomb and instead wait for the DRS to be enabled now on the start of lap number 4. And here he goes, he's going to fly like a rocket ship up to the back of Gutierrez, pull to the inside, and then just basically beat him on the brakes into turn 1 and take the better racing line, and he's now got himself up into P11. And so far the pace on the prime tyres, on the hardest tyres available, is looking pretty decent so far. The target is to go for a one-stop strategy, so hopefully Mick Schumacher can pull it off. But moving on to lap 5, we had a few people on the soft tyre who actually come in for their pit stop, which is promoting Mick Schumacher momentarily into PA, which is now P7, as we've got more cars in the pit lane, as Vettel also makes a move, and finally the Ferrari driver makes some moves and trying to find a bit of pace in that prancing horse, and eventually getting past his German compatriot there. But so far a decent start to the race here from Mick Schumacher, and he's just doing his thing, managing his tyres, also managing his pace. And as we move midway through lap 7 now, Nico Hülkenberg, I believe on a fresh set of mediums, is looking fairly racy here, and he's actually going to go to the inside and make a move once again on his German compatriot here, making a nice move up the inside of the hairpin. However, Mick Schumacher is trying to hold on here around the outside, but he just can't pull it off, and unfortunately has to give way to Nico Hülkenberg as he's got a yellow flag behind for some reason. I think we had someone going for a spin at the chicane, or the hairpin, sorry, but moving on to the end of that very lap, and now Nico Rosberg in the Silver Arrow on brand new medium tyres is absolutely just cutting through the field on the fresh tyres. And here we go, he's going to get past Mick Schumacher, as you can see there, the straight line speed difference there in a superior car, and he just gets the move, just puts his car right in front of Mick's car just before the turn 1 apex there. And as we move midway through lap 12, now Lewis Hamilton in the other Silver Arrow on fresh tyres is trying to get past Mick Schumacher here into the hairpin. Look at the braking difference there on fresh tyres from the 3 times world champion, and he makes that move fairly easily into the hairpin. And so far Mick is trying to drag it out on these hard tyres as we get a virtual safety car now on the start of lap 13, which for reasons I could not find, I went into the replay cameras and I could not find a reason why it was triggered. Nobody had a single problem. So a very strange virtual safety car, but nevertheless the virtual safety car period eventually ended and we got back underway, and now Kimi Raikkonen on fresh medium tyres is making the move on Mick Schumacher way before the hairpin around the outside. A nice comfortable move there from the Iceman, and eventually we would move on to lap 17. As you can see, I just wanted to show this because Mick's pace was still very good on the hard tyre, setting personal best lap times and getting himself back up into P2 in the very next lap. Even with his tyres now 52% on the front left, only literally 300 slower than his best lap. So the pace from Mick Schumacher really good on the hard tyres. Now eventually on the end of lap 20 he's going to come in for his one and only pit stop this race, and he's going to switch on to the medium tyres. He now tries to make sure he hits his speed limit just about there quite comfortably, and that's a question of how many positions will Mick Schumacher drop down the field. And hopefully Manor can give Mick a pretty decent pit stop here and not cost him too much time, as it is only one pit stop this race for the young German. As you can see, hitting his marks there and getting a nice easy pit stop onto the mediums. And I normally would use a replay cam, but unfortunately if you follow me on Twitter then you will know why there was no replay cams from the last one onwards, because let's say I had a little bit of a glitch, which if I remember, I'll try and put it on screen right now. If not, check the description down below and click on the link to the tweet, and you will see exactly what happened whilst I was recording replay cams. But nevertheless, moving back onto the action in hand now, and Mick Schumacher is right on the back of Vettel and Verstappen on these fresh medium tyres, which is absolutely incredible to say, as these two are fighting out on the hards. And look at this, Mick Schumacher sliding up the inside of Verstappen, and he's now going to try and go around the outside of Sebastian Vettel. Can he pull this off? It's going to be very tight. Vettel giving him a good old squeeze onto the grass, but he's still going to commit to the move around the outside. And what a fantastic overtake that is from Mick Schumacher, hanging Sebastian Vettel out to dry through the chicane there and making sure that he can't get past, and then settles into P8 quite nicely as we move later on to lap 25. And Lewis Hamilton's actually gone out of the race, so a bit of a problem there for the British driver. And as you can see, coming through the final chicane now, Lewis is just on the left hand side there. Now his engine has actually blown up, so a very unfortunate one for Lewis Hamilton. But a little bit of a sit rep in terms of the action right now, and Mick Schumacher was actually catching Nico Hülkenberg, but it got to a point where the tyre wear started to catch up, and the gap was staying about 1.9 to 2 seconds, and eventually Fernando Alonso, the hometown hero, on his fresh medium tyres, was starting to make some inroads here and showing some pretty damn good pace in the McLaren Honda. And it's going to be a tense final few laps as we've got a couple of cars right in the back of the manor here. And here comes Fernando Alonso with DRS wide open down the pit straight in that McLaren Honda, and now Valtteri Bottas also trying to get a little bit of sniff and in on the action on the hard tyres as we go around the outside of Fernando Alonso through turn 1, holding on to P7 there, and some great defensive driving from Mick Schumacher to hold on to that position there from the Spaniard in his home race, who's obviously going to try and be extra feisty in this race. But eventually onto the start of lap 32 with 2 laps left to go. Mick Schumacher is getting swamped by 2 very fast cars with DRS there. Bottas absolutely flying because of that power unit in that Williams and also the low drag setup, and eventually Mick does manage to do the exact same thing and go around the outside of Alonso through the first corner and defend his position. However, Valtteri Bottas is pretty much gone and out of the question now, so Bottas has managed to get past successfully into P7, and now Mick Schumacher is really struggling on these tyres. And here comes Fernando Alonso going to the inside for the hairpin. Mick's going to leave him the room on the inside, running in a little bit deep into the hairpin, but he's going to try and pick up the traction on the exits. Here comes Alonso. He's going to go up the inside, flick his car right across, and Mick Schumacher has to back right out of it. Otherwise, it could have been a very, very nasty accident. And as we move on to the end now of lap 33, it looks like it's going to be P9 for Mick Schumacher for the Spanish Grand Prix, and an okay race considering it's one where the pace was not really there and the AI was stupidly OP. So P9, 2 very well earned World Championship points, and so far maintains its 100% record of scoring in every single race this season in the Manor cars. So a fantastic result there from Mick Schumacher, with Nico Rosberg, the other German, winning the race there. So a good job from him, but overall a pretty decent result for the Manor driver and the Manor team as a whole. And the next race is Monaco, which always promises to be very interesting, and you know, the AI do tend to be a little bit slow around there, so there could be a possibility that Manor could be fighting for at least a top 10 in qualifying and also in the race. So it's going to be an interesting race, and hopefully Mick can make the magic happen around the streets of Monaco. And after that point, the upgrades will come in thick and fast, because so far Mick Schumacher has been saving up resource points for the tough races, especially the likes of Baku, which are another very, very hard track in terms of the AI being very, very OP. Now, moving into the final race results, and you can see that Nico Rosberg wins with Raikkonen and Ricciardo following on the podium, with Sergio Perez getting a brilliant 4th place there for 14 there, and also Lance Stroll in P5 in the Williams. So good result from him, with both McLaren Hondas there getting the points, and Verstappen and Vettel missing out on the top 10 surprisingly. And looking at the Drivers' Championship, Mick Schumacher drops all the way down to P5 there, but still on a very impressive 48 points there. And finally, looking at the constructors, you can see that Manor have maintained their 5th spot, and that's pretty much the best they can probably go for. I mean, until that car gets a bit better, it looks like Williams is probably going to pass them as well, so 6th place could be a possibility for the blue and black team. But overall, it's been an interesting race here at Spain, and one that I've thoroughly enjoyed in the return of the Mick Schumacher career mode. And if you guys did enjoy it, then a thumbs up would be greatly appreciated, and also if you could check out the videos on the screen right now, that'd be absolutely fantastically appreciated. And if you're new around here, please be sure to subscribe to my channel, and all the information and links to my social media that you need to know are in the description down below. But nevertheless, guys, thanks a lot for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one very soon, and who knows, maybe as early as Tuesday for the return of career mode. Goodbye.